Were you surprised?
I expected this to be a stronger night for the Democrats last night. And I suspect what happened is that they did very well in the run-up and they did not have a good election day. And if you move beyond the Biden-Trump race, you really see that. I mean, the Senate, many people thought they would take back the Senate. That now seems at best a 50-50 proposition, but probably unlikely. They did not pick up gains in seats in the House, and they didn't do well in state legislative races. So this was not a great night for the Democrats. However, Biden seems to have done what he needed to do. The 4 states of Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Michigan, he's ahead in all of those states, and there's no real reason to think that's going to change. I mean, in Michigan, for example, as you know, most of the votes are still coming out are from places like Detroit and Flint. So Biden is likely to win, but it's not going to be the big win. Many around the Democratic Party felt that Tuesday was going to be a repudiation of Donald Trump and Donald Trumpism. It is not. If anything, it is a reminder of the strength of Donald Trump and Donald Trumpism, although at the end of the day, right now, I think the networks are hesitant to say it, but in my view, Biden has won this election, and the only caveat to that is that Trump can take it back through legal and political and perhaps other shenanigans. But on the surface, if we could go ahead with the radical idea of counting all the votes, Biden will be the next president.
You bring up a very good point. In fact, Donald Trump, shortly after 2 a.m., came on stage and pretty much declared victory. I want you to hear what he had to say, and then I want to ask you a question.
We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay?
We want all voting to stop. I'm assuming he means we want all counting the ballots to stop. What is he talking about? Can he say things like this?
Well, he can say whatever he wants. It has no legal relevance. I think he may have meant all voting to stop. Of course, by 2 a.m., which is 11 o'clock on the West Coast, all voting had stopped except perhaps in Hawaii. Presuming he meant he wanted all counting to stop, yes, you know what? If I were winning a race and I saw that there were a whole bunch of ballots coming in that were not going to be for me, I'd want all voting to stop too. That is a kind of human political response. It is not a legally binding one. What concerns me is not that he said that, but the applause in the room. And that no one in that room said, you know what, Mr. President, you're losing, let's see how this plays out, or you're winning now, let's see how this plays out, but in America we count all the votes. And that suggests to me that we have, at least around Donald Trump, a cadre of people who believe it's okay to stop counting votes as the way to stay in power. The other point that strikes me is the relative silence we've heard from the rest of the Republican Party, the leadership in Congress, governors, and people like that. Now, we haven't heard them strongly come out and say, you know, a negative statement, no, we're going to count all the votes, but we also haven't heard them rally around the president. And unless they rally around the president, Donald Trump is going to have nowhere to stand. He's going to have no footing here. And one of the reasons they're not is that they are likely to recapture the Senate. And Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, can live with the Biden presidency as long as he controls the Senate.
And we're just getting word that the Trump campaign has filed a lawsuit, Professor, to stop the vote counting that is going on in Michigan. What do you make of that one?
Well, first of all, he's already losing in Michigan. And secondly, listen, I live in New York. I've lived here most of my life. I'm very familiar with Donald Trump. Let me tell you a little secret about New York City that maybe the whole world should know. Nobody is afraid of Donald Trump and his lawsuits, right? You can, as there was a New York guy used to say, you can sue a ham sandwich. You can sue whoever you want. What is the standing there that we're not going to count these votes because they're from Detroit? We're not going to count these votes because these people voted early. We're not going to count these votes because maybe they were African American. Like, that's not a legal argument. So whatever legal pyrotechnics he's going to make here, the only chance he has of actually winning is if he gets extremely partisan judges, and we know that such judges exist, for example, on the Supreme Court, to weigh in on his side. That's the gambit he's playing, but we should stress that is not democracy. Joe Biden's path to the White House is going to be through patience and counting the votes. Donald Trump's path to the White House is going to be through upsetting democracy. And that's a big difference between the two candidates right now.
Professor, are you confident that every vote cast by Americans will, in fact, be counted, considering what Trump has said and what he's doing?
No, I'm not confident of that. I would hope that happens. In many American states, it will be counted. So we can speak about states like Texas, New York, California, where it's not close. Those votes will be counting, and you will see there that the popular vote, where Biden only leads by about 2 million, his numbers will creep up there. It doesn't mean much, but symbolically it's important. Donald Trump is going to fight very hard. Michigan is a test case. The real states where he wants to stop the counting now are Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. because for those states, not so much North Carolina, but Georgia and Pennsylvania, as they count the votes. For example, in Georgia, many of the outstanding votes are from Atlanta. That could tip that state into Biden's column.
That's
Pennsylvania,
right.
many of the outstanding states in Philadelphia could tip into Biden's column. Donald Trump has to stop the counting and then find a way to overturn one of the 4 states where Biden is leading right now. It's a heavy lift. If he gets some political breaks, maybe he can do it, but it wouldn't be democracy, and right now I wouldn't bet on it.
What a legal mess that would